We have with us as visitors Joe, a couple of people from the CIA. We have Joe Maynard and Brenda Vaussar Taylor, who is the principal for a law firm, BVT Law, in Northwest Arkansas. And she has her thumb, it's fair to say, in quite a few pies, is very involved in politics locally and government affairs, and in the CIA organization, which I mentioned, is actually, it's not the one you may have thought of first, it's Commerce in Action. And she wanted to update us a little bit, and so she's asked for a few minutes. She's going to come and give us a little bit of an update on some of the things she's dealing with, I think in particular with some of the state legislator races. Please welcome Brenda Vaussar Taylor.
Thank you. I am an attorney in Fayetteville, and my partner, Joe Maynard, is a manufacturer here. And we have both co-founded this organization, Commerce in Action. And what we're doing right now is we're testing or giving an opportunity to our conservative, newly elected Republican majority to become more conservative by primarying some of the existing incumbents. We're not afraid to do that. It's not a real popular thing, but primaries are when you decide policy. And so that's what we have committed to, is to helping our state be more conservative, which means smaller government. You know, we're all about smaller government. We have been not in favor of the Medicaid expansion, the private option. That has given us a reputation for people thinking that we're just focused on that, but we're really not. We're for better government. Now, I'll tell you the races that we're involved in. We are involved in supporting the candidate Donnie Copeland, running against Jane English in the Sherwood area, North Little Rock. There's the Cabot area Senate race, and these are all Senate races I'm going to tell you about. In addition to Donnie Copeland, R.D. Hopper is a small business owner, very successful. I want to call him a young man. He's in his early 40s, and he and his family have done very well. He's running against an incumbent, Eddie Joe Williams, and those are two good Senate races. In North Arkansas, a Fayetteville area where we are, we're supporting Sharon Lloyd, who was running against John Woods, the incumbent. John dropped out of the race, and that's an interesting development, but her opponent now is Lance Eads, House member. So what we're doing is we are going all over the state. People say, well, why would you want to work in a district that's not where you live? I mean, Clay and I talked about that. And it is because any vote by a senator in Little Rock affects all of us. So we have an opportunity for you guys to get involved in these races if you'd like to. Maybe you know David and Janet Crow, Joanne Filialtro. They are put together sort of a SWAT team of phone calling and door knocking. Anyone in the room that wants to volunteer and work with us on that, I would like for you to just, let us know, give us your information. We'll be happy to get that to you. But we wanted just to come down and Joe, would you just give them a minute on maybe Facebook update, what they may be hearing about us on Facebook. You had said you hear what we do, so just 2 minutes, Joe, or less, because Clay's on the schedule and don't want to go on that. But anyhow, some exciting stuff. We read about us every now and then, and maybe a lot of it's not true, but let's see what Joe says. And we got some good handouts, too.
Okay, I don't know what the level of knowledge of our organizations are. We're generally referred to as the conduits, and not in a good light recently. And then that's a good thing. I think if we weren't effective and people did not wonder and be a little bit apprehensive that the status quo would be challenged by organizations like yours, then we probably wouldn't be doing our job right. So I figure we must be doing something right, and we never apologize for our principles and our conservative values. There's nothing to apologize for. Politically incorrect. I heard that was sorry for being politically correct. Well, let's be politically correct, and let's do it boldly, or politically incorrect, should I say. Our original mission several years ago, we started out with a Tea Party group in Northwest Arkansas, And what our goal was, and what we thought could be best use of our time, would be to provide a little horsepower and a little continuity for Tea Party groups like this one. You know, the solutions are here, but how do you implement and turn those things into action? Well, that's what we're trying to do. The goals are the same, but unless you can produce a result with your goals, then you're really just complaining. And we're going to help in complaining and start being effective. So we can turn the knowledge and the principles that the Tea Party developed into electing people who will execute those on a daily basis and not be co-opted by the Marble Palace and the political insiders clubs, because that is what happens. So Commerce in Action is small business electing people because of their stance and positions, and then letting them do their job and holding them accountable. We don't go after politicians and say, you should run this bill, you should do this, you shouldn't do that. We don't talk to them again. That's not our job. That's the lobbyist's job, and we'll never compete with lobbyists. Nobody in this room is going to compete with a lobbyist that's there 24/7, knows all the right things to say, has all the little triggers to pull. We're not going to ever be able to do that. We cannot spend enough time in Little Rock to be effective. So they've got to have a credible, I want to say threat, but a credible option of being replaced if they don't do what they promised us they were going to do. We're not trying to change anybody's mind. We're trying to help the people whose minds are similar to ours get elected and to keep them elected. And that's it. So that's the execution that we've learned through the Tea Party organizations in Arkansas, just trying to develop a more effective way to implement what you guys already know needs to be done. So you'll hear various things over the next few weeks and months about conduit and they're shady and this, that, and the other. Anybody's got a question about any of that, anywhere, anytime, we'll talk about it. We have absolutely nothing under the surface. It's all right there in their face. And like I said, we don't shrink from it. May be wrong, but I'd rather be effective than merely be relevant. So that's kind of where we come from.
Thank you for letting us come, and like Clay, he was kind of surprised that we wanted to show up and talk to y'all, but we have been getting a lot of stuff on Facebook, reading about how unpopular we are among the legislators, and these are legislators saying this, but let me just tell you, they're preparing the groundswell to not have our candidates be elected. These people that we are running against, they're good people, we like them, but their votes are just not consistent with what they have promised their voters that they would do. So we want to replace them with people who will do what they say they will. And that's yet to be tested until someone gets an opportunity to vote. You never know. But this is a cycle, and we're trying to let everybody know we'll be faithful to that. Now, we do have some articles over there. One is John Burroughs put a nice article out and talked business about us the other day, and we've responded. You'd be the first to get to read that. But we want to make sure you get some handouts if you like them. Thank you, Clay. Sorry to take so long. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. I'd also add that Brenda has served for the Arkansas Tea Party Alliance, coalition of Tea Party groups across the state, doing some pro bono legal work for them. Thank you, Brenda, for that.